All right, we are here. We are live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to another live broadcast. Today is September the 5th, 2025. Another wonderful day out here in the beautiful state of Arizona. And the weather is fine, actually. We are under 100 degrees. Under 100 degrees. Whoa. So we're in a cooling part of the season. They usually don't really officially start getting cool until like when we get into like October, like late October. That's usually when it gets cooler. But anyway, we're gonna take it kind of fun and easy today. We're gonna take a look at some of the stuff that showed up on my timeline on my For You page, and that's what we're going to be looking at in this broadcast. So just going to give people time to get on, and we will be starting momentarily. All right, about another, let's say, right under a minute. We're gonna start. Okay, gonna be a really good broadcast today. I got a whole lot of videos lined up of stuff that was appearing across my For You page and on TikTok, on X, and so yeah, we're gonna be taking a look at that. Just as a reminder to you, we just released our hair growth. Now, this is, I don't know if it's hope for me. I would love for it to be hope, but you know, for you ladies especially. We developed, my wife has spent a year, and we're not exaggerating, you know, coming up with a hair growth and hydration herbal hair tea, specifically designed for 4C hair. Over on our website, sombertree.com. We just released it this week. Make sure you check that out, along with some of the other things we have. Don't forget, we have the brand new package of different herbs that are specifically designed for different parts of your brain. It's 100% natural herbal. It ain't weed, y'all. It's all natural herbs that you take as tea. You can make smoothies, all kind of things with that. Then we got a bunch of other things like powders and, you know, like I said, different herbs, oils, bitters, all that kind of stuff. Be sure to check us out over on sombertree.com. All right, about another 30 seconds, and then we're going to start, okay? All right. We're going to go ahead and get started now. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to the broadcast. Guys, I hope you guys had a wonderful week. If you made it this far, then congratulations. You did have your week wasn't that bad because you ain't dead. Okay. So your week wasn't that bad. Okay. We got our challenges like every other day, every other week or whatever. But at the end of the day, we made it across yet another finish line. So give yourself a round of applause for that. So anyway, we're here now. And since we're here, we might as well go ahead and get into it. So yeah. So today we're going to be looking at some of the interesting things that have come across my For You page. Just as many of you, if you're on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, the great algorithm will always suggest to you different videos to check out. And some of them are quite interesting. And the more we click on them, the more we interact on them, the more it's like, okay, you must like this stuff. So you got to be careful on the stuff that you click on, because sometimes you'll click on something and it's like, oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Then it's like, oh, you must really like it. And it's giving you all this stuff. And so anyway, it's quite interesting. So just a couple of things. Let me just bring your attention over to our community page right quick. It was something a couple of things I posted on over there, and then we're going to get into the good, really, really good stuff today. Back up right here. Well, we're getting some pretty good responses here. So I think we're going to go ahead and do it. It's right here. So I have proposed to do a class, a seminar. It's going to be a one-day seminar between 4 to 6 hours. It will be later on this month, and it's basically on deconstructing. And I even did a video, earlier this week, I did a video kind of giving you an overview of what it would look like. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out. What is deconstruction? Basically, in this context, we're talking about people who are starting to make the decision to, that, hey, you know what? I have been in, named the Bible-based religion, belief system, for some time now. And I've been, after what, now I'm having some questions. And I just want to see if these questions are valid, or maybe I'm wrong, or whatever. And, and this is a good place for you, because you should have questions. There's nothing wrong with having questions. One of the things that we are taught, that's drilled in regardless of what religion or belief system, a lot of belief systems, is that if you have questions, then that means there is something, you're in doubt, and you can't have doubt, and it's like, no, we're human. Sometimes you're going to have doubt. Sometimes you're going to have questions. And it's okay for that. I was interacting with someone earlier this week. They said, the moment I picked up the Bible, I had a million questions. They said, but the moment I picked up the Bible, all my questions disappeared. I was like, oh, okay, that's strange, because that means that human part of you just left. And no, we should always have questions. There's nothing wrong with that. And so between my wife and I, we have many, many, many years in the church and Christendom, even in the Hebrew space. We have spent a number of years in that as well. So we'll be going through quite a bit, and I'm not going to go through it now. I would suggest and advise you go back to the video I did earlier this week, where I did give a really good overview of what to expect. We'll be finalizing it over the next few days. So I'll have all that information up. Just keep your eyes on our community page, and I'll have all the information there. Okay. And, but yeah, you're going to get a ton of stuff. But like I said, I'm looking at between 4 to 6 hours. And the only reason why I'm saying that long is because I know we're going to have numbers of times where we'll be stopping and having a Q&A, to give people time to ask questions and all of that. And, we'll answer the best of our ability and all of that. The goal isn't to turn you into followers of a new religion that we're starting or something like that. No, please. All we're trying to do, the goal here is to get rid of the lies. How many of you are tired of being lied to? I'm tired of it. I am so done with being lied to. I mean, I don't care where they're coming from. White lies, black lies, it don't matter. I'm just tired of it. And we are in a time in our lives right now where we can expose a lot of it. So why not use this time to do that? But in order for you to do that, you got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and to look at things the way they are. And that's what we're going to do in this seminar that we're going to be having, hopefully by the end of this month. But keep your eyes on our community page, and I'll have all the information there over the next few days. Okay. Another thing I posted over on the community page was this post here. Someone posted this on Twitter or X, And I thought this was really interesting. These pictures here, these are slaves. These are slaves that you're looking at right now. Yes. If you look down, it says, it gives their names, and it says slave children from New Orleans. So legally, they were classified as slaves. Isn't that interesting? But you should already know that. I mean, for many of you who know your history, you should know that, that mulattoes as well, they worked as slaves. And so what you're looking at is that these are people who were, who basically, according to the law, they passed as slaves. And then here's another one here, and it says, gives all the names here. They were slaves here, and I'm going to give you the 411 in a moment. Same thing, slaves and slaves here. All right. And so let me go ahead and read to you the post that I did. It's very short. I said these are mixed race children who were still considered slaves in the South. Here's a little more info to their story. And it says this image was part of broader efforts, white slave propaganda, a genre that highlighted how mixed race children were enslaved and exploited, aiming to stir Northern empathy and to raise funds for freedmen schools. So for all of you who are proudly a freedman, I'm a freedman. I'm a descendant of a freedman. Okay, well, these are your cousins. All right, these are your cousins down here. All right, these are your cousins. These are your freedman cousins. Okay, for freedmen schools, photographers like Paxton and Myron Kimball produced such images, and they were widely circulated as, cartes de vesti for 25 cents each. A couple of reality checks for you here. Number one, these children and their descendants are just as much ADOS. What is ADOS? American descendant of slavery, or slaves, sorry, as Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell, who is she? Well, she's one of the founders. Her and Antonio Moore. That's Yvette Carnell. She is a biracial child of biracial marriage. So those children that you saw are just as much of ADOS as her. Okay, who is pushing for reparations. And Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed is the founder of FBA, and he has a biracial wife. So his wife is also, according to their vernacular here, they are also Black Americans. All right. And then number two, I said, using Grandma Told Me research, using Grandma Told Me research, if just one member of the family is Native American, all members are Native American. This also means that any white person with any percentage of Black genetics are Black American. Now, you're going to have to blame Grandma for not thinking that through, and also blame yourself for repeating it. And so, yeah, that's true. This is, if you're going to dig into this topic here, you better make sure you dig deep, because that is also true. And there are numbers of white people in this country that do have trace amounts of African in them. They are. So if you're going to say, well, you're going to say, well, my great grandmother, she was a Native American, and she's the only one in your family that was Native American. Everybody else is Black, just straight from Africa, Black, right? Using that logic, then that also means if that 1 or 2%, because I showed you the average DNA for most Black Americans, the average DNA of most Black Americans when it comes to Native American is usually 0.2 to 2%. That is on average that you'll see for most Black Americans. You know what it is for when it comes to the white portion of our DNA? It's way higher than that. I mean, you're talking on the teens. I'm talking about on average. So the logic that we have going on today is that people actually believe that that tiny percentage of Native American that you have in you supersedes the white DNA that you have in you. So you figured it, you do the math on that. So as I'm saying, this logic doesn't make any sense at all. Because if you're going to claim the tiny percentage of Native American, you might as well claim the white people too. They would be first in line. I mean, if you're going to go, if this is how you're going to play, but see, that's where DNA comes into play. Why you have to, if you're very serious about this, you can't be going by word of mouth. You can't be going by unks, theories and your grandma's, what she was saying and all of that. You got to look at the actual science. You just have to. And we've talked about that at great lengths on past videos, so you can check them out at your own leisure, okay? But anyway, let's go ahead and move on with what we're going to be showing today. So one of the things, as every week, the church is always being talked about on social media, and this week was definitely no exception. So here we got Marvin Winans of the famous Winans group, the Winans family. Well, this week he pitched out something to his church that was, quite interesting. So I'm going to play it for you, and let's take a look let's see what's going on at Perfecting Church.
Everybody say day of giving. And in the day of giving, unlike our sacrificial Sunday, I'm asking everyone to give a particular amount, and that amount is $1,000. But we've changed it from just day of giving to day of giving plus one. And what that means is that we want you as a member of Perfecting Church to sow $1,000. But then we want you to get under the burden and ask your coworkers, businesses in your community, people that you do work with, your family, your friends. Tell them to give, and we want you to come with your $1,000 plus another $1,000.
Where do we even begin with this? Where do we even begin with this? Where do we even begin with this? So just so that we're clear, he is asking for every church member to give in this economy, he's asking for people in this economy to give $1,000. Okay. And then on top of that, he's asking those people to also go out, talk to your friends, family, and also talk to businesses and ask them to give $1,000. Let me ask you something. I've read the Bible quite a bit, and for many years, and there are many examples of, where Jesus told the disciples, he said, "Hey, go." The disciples came to Jesus and they said, "Hey, we need to get some coins. We need some money." And so Jesus told them, "Hey, listen, go fishing." And they went to go fishing, and they went fishing. He said, "Okay, now open their mouths." Okay, true story, according to the Bible. Open their mouths, and inside their mouths there were coins, and it was the exact money they needed. True story, according to the Bible. And there's another example in the Bible where, I don't know, it was actually two instances where the people needed food. And so what did he do? He said he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish and told them, "Hey, listen, give it to me. I'm going to bless it," and all of that. And he did it. And what happened? It multiplied. Everybody ate. This happened twice. Or how about at the miracle at the wedding, where, oh my God, we left out we don't have any wine. We got to have wine up in here. So he said, "All right, give me some water, and we're going to change water into wine." And change water into wine. So here we got changing water into wine, feeding thousands of people with just a lunchbox worth of food, and finding coins in a fish. Okay, so you got 3 cases in the Bible with that. But yet in 2025, one of the most anointed churches that we have out here is asking people to go out and to beg for $1,000. You're not using this front part of your brain. You're not using it. And every excuse in the world will be brought up. Well, hey, listen, this is what it is. That's just that church and all that. Oh no, this happens everywhere. And people don't, for whatever reason, take the time and process and think this stuff through. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. But instead you keep going with the charade. Anyway, meanwhile, let's go to the next example that we have.
Tithing is not new covenant. Tithing is before there is any covenant. Tithing is the foundational principle of walking in the blessing of the Lord. It is the foundational principle of walking in the blessing of the Lord. Say it even if you ain't gonna do it, because at least you're gonna know it. Look at your neighbor and say, it is the foundational principle of walking in the blessing of the Lord.
It is the foundational principle. You got to do all of that and walk in the Lord. So in other words, if you don't give money, the Lord ain't going to walk with you. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was interesting too, but let's continue here. Here's another one here. You guys might like this one. You might want to get up and dance on this. Let me just play it for you. Another interesting thing that came across my For You page. Let's take a look.
All right, y'all, we got a new dance. It's called the Holy Ghost Stomp. Now, I need you to get your fans out because we're going to pop those fans. Now, are y'all ready to stomp with your boy Chris Bird? Brianna, are you ready? All right, now. Here we go. Come on. To the left. Hallelujah, to the left. To the right. Hallelujah, to the right. Hallelujah, shuffle like it's a Sunday night. Yeah. Hallelujah to the left. Hallelujah. Hallelujah to the right. Hallelujah, shuffle like it's a Sunday night. Come on, saints, let's dance. Yeah. And pop those church fans like David dance. Whoa. Let's pop those fans. Pick them up, put them down, stomp your feet on the holy ground. Pop those fans, do your dance, turn around and start again. Pick them up, hey. Put them down, stomp your feet on the holy ground. Pop those fans, do your dance like King David, like David's dance. Do the Holy Ghost stomp.
Anytime the world comes out with something, give the church just a little bit of time. They'll catch up, but they'll do a discount version of it. The whole stomp your feet thing or whatever that Beyonce, whatever that was. And all the women got their fans out, doing all of that. Give it, the church is always a little bit delayed in catching up, but they eventually will come around and come up with their version. I don't even know. I don't even what can be said. What honestly can be said on that. I just anyway, it gets more interesting. Well, here's a woman that and you're gonna see it's not just her, there's gonna be some other people as well, but she has a very interesting theory. We're still under the church thing, but she has a very interesting theory about Jesus and where he was crucified. Y'all, I don't search for this stuff. It just comes on my For You page.
What if Jesus was crucified, buried, and was resurrected not in the Middle East, but in America? Whew, this is a deep topic. All right, I've made a couple small videos about this in the past, but I want to talk about it more in depth, so let's go. All right, so first of all, we've already established that Salt Lake City is historically Jerusalem of the Bible. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you may need to go get some context, watch some of my other videos. Okay, so over here where the red circle is, that is the Garden of Gethsemane. Oh my gosh, someone correct me. Garden of Gethsemane. Anyway, that's where it is. You need to go watch my video on the Mount of Olives, because in that I map out with scripture where this is located in conjunction with the Mount of Olives in the Kidron Valley, which is this blue line here, in Temple Mount, and all the other stuff. So go check that one out next, because that will explain where this is. This is the location on an old map. Now, the Bible does not explicitly...
I can't. It's like almost 10 minutes of that. There's no way. And I didn't even watch all 10 minutes. Don't worry. I couldn't. But she, along with many others, and you got a lot of Hebrews that do this too, they are latching on to the whole, the Book of Mormon all of a sudden has become popular. Now, this is the same religion that basically said that black people were cursed. But trust black folks into finding purpose in curses, and that they're going to find some identity in being cursed. I don't get it, but that's the thing. And so there are a lot of people all of a sudden now they're latching on to this ideology of the Mormon church. Now, yes, it ain't just Salt Lake City. There are many towns, there are many cities all across the United States that are named after Bible towns mentioned in the Bible. I mean, that's what they used to do back in the day. I mean, like you have New Egypt, New Jersey. Does that mean New Jersey is the home of Egypt? Then you got other towns too that are named Bethlehem, PA. That doesn't mean it was the real Bethlehem. This was just something that people did. They would name places after Bible names. And it's no different than, especially in places like Utah, where it was, heavily Mormon. And you see some of that in some of these other towns out west too. They do the same thing. But yeah, it's something. So yeah, so according to her, Jesus was crucified not over in Israel or wherever that was, but he was crucified in Utah. All right, so now we know. All right, let's move on. Let's see what the next one is this one here. Here we got another one telling us about Judah. All right. So he's a little bit of Hebrew and some other things. Some of the crazy things that come across my timeline. I tell you, it's something. Take a look.
Judah. I have a message for Judah and the 12 tribes of Israel, specifically the Jews, Benjamin, Judah, and Levi. You American people, as you all know by now, you are the children of Israel and you are who we call Judah. You have been haughty long enough, according to the Most High. You have mocked as your oppressors mocked you in slavery, in captivity. You builded houses that you never lived in. The wives that you marry, other men.
I can't. I just can't. I can't. I mean, just with the painted face alone, there's nothing more. What else am I gonna say? What else am I gonna say? But you go into the comments of these types of videos, full of people like, you know what? You're right. It's amazing. It's amazing to see how people react to these things. Let me see what else. I think one more. I thought this was an interesting interaction. This week I've been seeing a lot of videos come across my For You page of women that have been complaining about how the church isn't helping them to find husbands. And I thought this was a very good example of this. And so see it in action. So let's take a look at this. This is actually on one of those dating shows. It isn't exactly Pop the Balloon. It's like the discount version of it. But I want you to watch this and listen to this interaction. It's quite interesting. That's all I got to say.
When was the last time you had an encounter with the Lord?
What do you mean encounter with the Lord?
It's done.
Okay.
Is that a good thing?
No.
Are you going to break the heart?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, break it. Okay. Why are you breaking the heart?
He hasn't had an encounter with the Lord. Like, that's all a personal relationship with God. Like, you should have personal encounters with the Lord almost every single day.
Well, that's why I asked. Just it's but in all that getting understanding. I was trying to get an understanding because
he didn't understand the question. Maybe
I don't know what you mean
Like
by
God's
tongue.
presence, like His revelation, like just a touch, just God in your presence. I don't know.
Well, I talk to God when I wake up. I talk to Him before I go to sleep. He's never. He saved my
like
life.
Him manifesting Himself onto you.
But again, I talk to God every day, but I just can't lie. God has never came and sat down in the living room with me and we watched TV together. We talk together every day when I wake up. Just being honest.
Keep it real. No,
Keep it real.
I do actually get what you're saying.
I talk to God every day, day and night. Because if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be alive. That's why everybody said, "How you doing today?" I said, "Best day of my life. Tomorrow gonna be better." As long as I wake up, because today somebody did not wake up. But God woke me up, so I talked to Him. I thank Him for waking me up, and at night I thank Him for all the manifestations He brought in my life. But again, me and Jesus, for instance, we have never went to play volleyball together. But God, God made me in His image, and I'm doing great. I thank God. I came out to California with $200, didn't know nobody. So God is always in my life, and I always stay humble.
So does that clarify anything, or you're content with the heartbreak?
No, I'm content with the heart.
Bruh couldn't win for nothing because he saw what was happening. He was like, whoa, wait a minute. But when I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that He's done for me, my soul cries out, hallelujah. I thank God for saving me. And, and he woke me up this morning and He started me on my way. And he started going on and on and on. It was too late. The ship done sailed. The church ship has sailed. It's too late now. It's too gone. You didn't meet the expectations. What's the expectations? We don't know. Because it always changes. But yes, I'm laughing because I used to be in those circles. I understand that. But when you're out of it, you see how crazy and insane it really sounds. It's really something. Anyway. But yeah, he tried. It was too late now. The ship had sailed. It had sailed. Okay, so let's move on here. This week, there was a couple of things that is going on. I don't know what it is. It's like someone's hitting buttons or switches or something like that. It's like, okay, now Simon says, get mad at this. Simon says, okay, pay attention to that, and it's really something. So this week was the week that suddenly that a lot of our black women have been getting really frustrated and tired about the job market, the whole 300,000. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I hate repeating these same numbers over and over again, because in reality is more than likely it's more than that right now. Over 300,000 black women who lost their jobs. Earlier today, I actually posted something over on our black fact check page, and let me see if I have that here. And oh yeah, it's right here. I posted this earlier today, so let me get that up for you because I do want you to see it. All right, here we go. I'll bring this up here on the screen, and this is going to give a little context on what we're going to get into, in this segment here. But I do want you to listen to this first, okay? All right, let's go. Empowering. Black American women are the most educated group. There's a claim that may sound empowering. Black American women are the most educated group in America. But does the data support that? On today's edition of Black Fact Check, we're digging deeper. Here's what is true. Within the black population, black women earn the majority of degrees. They account for about 64% of bachelor degrees, 71% of master degrees, and 66% of doctoral or professional degrees awarded to black students. Sources like the UW and Century Foundation confirm this achievement. But here's where the common interpretation goes off course. Those figures are intra-racial, comparing black women only to black men, not to women of other races. Nationwide data tells a different story. In the 2010s, only about 23% of black women aged 25 to 54 held a bachelor's degree or higher, compared to 38% of white women. More recently, Pew Research data from 2024 shows around 38% of young black women have a bachelor's, still far behind the 52% of white women and 77% of Asian women. It is also insightful to look at what Black women study most and how this compares to other groups. According to Georgetown University's analysis of 2010 to 2014 U.S. Census American Community Survey data, the most common majors among Black American women bachelor degree holders include Health and Medical Administration Services, Human Services and Community Organization, Social Work, and in the other fields you can see here on your screen. By contrast, while Asian and white students are more represented in the more demanded STEM majors, engineering, physical sciences, computing, Black women are significantly underrepresented in fields like computer science, where only about 2% of computer science bachelor degrees go to Black women. This statistical contrast shows that Black women commonly pursue high-impact social, health, and community-focused majors rather than the more demanded STEM-heavy fields where other groups have stronger representation. So here's what we can conclude. Yes, Black women lead in degree attainment within their race, but the broader claim that they are the most educated demographic overall is a misrepresentation. Their educational focus is strong socially impactful fields like health, community services, and social work. At the same time, they maintain underrepresented in the more demanded fields in STEM and computing, where all other groups like white and Asian women are the most prevalent. Thanks for tuning in to Black Fact. All right, so there you go. It's over there on our the Black Fact channel, fact check channel. You can make sure you check that out. We have that and many other videos there. But I wanted to show that just to set things up as we get into this next round of videos here, because this week I noticed a numbers of Black women that were really taking to the camera, to their phone or whatever, and complaining about the job market and saying that, they all were trying to hook it on Trump. It's Trump. He's the main culprit in all of this. But it was something I said earlier. You don't get rid of your most needed employees if you're a successful company. If you are a successful company and you're trying to move up even higher, you're not going to axe away your essential people. And so what has happened, and I did a video on this a while back, really explaining how we've had this influx of Black Americans that went to government, that took up government jobs as a place of security. It wasn't these jobs, were they needed jobs? No. In many cases, they were not. These were not needed jobs. In fact, I want to play this video. I'll start off with this video here because this woman here, she's actually talking about, she's mentioning, how this whole game works with federal and state jobs. But I want you to listen to her first and then I'll come back.
There's a lot of nepotism, and anybody applying for a federal job, you're just blindly applying on USA jobs. You have, in the US federal government, especially in DC, if there's not someone behind it that told you about that job or told you to apply, you were not going to get that job. But what I do love about DC, and I don't know if you guys have this experience, you can meet somebody in Starbucks, at an event, at a function, at a party, that connects you to a job in DC. It's great. I love it.
Oh, there you go. So, yeah, it's lots of nepotism, but who's driving a lot of that nepotism is Black folks. And so what's happened is, these jobs that were, the federal government said, hey, we're going to do Black people a favor. This is going to be our payback for racism and what's happened in this country. We're going to give them jobs, and these going to be guaranteed jobs. Right. But here you got in the White House. Now you have a business person. You got a business person who's looking at everything and saying, wait a minute, the way we've been doing stuff, we've been wasting billions of dollars. Let's cut all this foolishness out. And so who's going to be the first ones that are going to go? When you're dealing with someone who's done businesses, who's built in businesses for decades, who's the first group he's going to look at? The non-essentials. Now, you can read into that, there's racism and all of that. You can read that all you want. The fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, the federal government is still running, is it? It's still running. It's still running. It seems like it's doing quite well now. But but what I'm saying is, and see, during this time, what has happened? What's happened is our middle class and we did on this video, we talked about this. When you look at the black middle class and compare it to all other groups in the United States, it's the black middle class that a majority of it rests upon the shoulders of the federal government, federal and state government. The majority of it does. When you look at white people, when you look at Asians, when you look at Hispanics or whatever, it's very diverse when it comes to their income. When you look at black Americans, when you look at our middle class, a hefty percentage of it rests on the shoulders of the federal government. That's a very dangerous position to be in for an entire group of people. That's a very dangerous, because if the federal government says, hey, listen, I'm cutting all of y'all off, then guess what? That's almost like if your whole entire family was hired by the same company. You don't want to do that, because if that company goes under, your whole family goes under. But see, this is what happened with black folks. We bought into the whole federal government dream that, oh, once you get a job with the federal government, everything's good and we're going to be straight and all of that. But that's not the case. That is not the case at all. And so now it's wake up call time. Now, in that short video clip that I shared with you, what she was, the one I did, the one from the Black Fact page, in that clip, I talked about how let's look at now when you hear black women say we're the most educated, you also got to look at, okay, what are they majoring in? And I showed you what the most black women are majoring in. And most of the majors that black women choose are in fields that aren't really that high in demand. In other words, they're very, especially now with AI coming to the picture. In other words, those needs are still there, but a lot of those things that they went to school for, it's no longer, it's now you can get AI. Now you can streamline and do a lot of stuff. You don't really need people force to do these things now. You understand? And so this is what's happening. So the most vulnerable, the people who put themselves in that position, they're getting their wake up call now. I have been warning people way even before this even happened. Way before this happened. I said, black folks, y'all going to need to start getting your second gig up. You remember when Elon Musk was doing, when Trump first got in office and he had his then buddy Elon Musk in there and they was going in there, Doge and doing all that stuff. I said right then, I said, black folks, if you are in the federal government, I said, you better start getting your other game up, because you got two business people up in there now and they're not playing. They're cutting a lot of stuff. But no, people want to keep, and now you got your wake up call. So it's revealing the truth of what this illusion that we've been living in. No, they're not entitled to give you anything. This world isn't entitled to give you anything, because a lot of people look at that and say, well, no, the federal government guarantees me a job to do what? If there's no need, in other words, if they can do it more efficiently, guess what? They're going to find a way to do it more efficiently. And so now what's happening? What's happening now is that a lot of these women, many of them who were hired by, work for the federal government, state government, and that's not all the case, but, because you have other people who worked in other businesses, outside, in the in the non-government sector. But what they are finding out now is that, no, you actually have to be trained for the moment. And if you don't have your training for the moment, and the moment right now is all skewing towards technology. And if you don't have that training, even on a small bit, you're going to be left behind. It's just what it is. They're not hiring people anymore simply because, that the days of, well, we got to get some black faces up here, that's gone. You're now going to have to do something with that. And so, but when you look at what a lot of particularly black women are majoring in, those things they're needed, but they're not really in high demand. You understand? So it was unfortunately a setup for what we see happening today. Okay. But anyway, let me share with you some of the videos of other people, talking about this. Let me get to, people that are trying to explain this. This is, I want to say the Washington Post. I'm not sure, but let me put this up here.
Over the course of the past 5 months, more than 300,000 Black women left the labor force, while the number of jobs for many other demographic groups have gone up. Experts and economists say that it is in part due to President Trump's efforts to shrink the federal government. I've been in touch with more than a dozen Black women who have been fired or dismissed or placed on administrative leave. They have described getting an email in their inbox telling them that they were involved in diversity and inclusion training, even when it had nothing to do with their jobs. They felt targeted for their race or their perceived political beliefs. Since President Trump took office, more than 80,000 federal government jobs have been cut. Black workers are disproportionately represented in the federal government, and particularly Black women. The federal government has long been a path to the middle class for Black Americans. After Jim Crow, it was one of the only places that Black people could get white-collar jobs. For Black women in particular, the federal government was a place where they face less discrimination than in the private sector.
Honey, there's discrimination everywhere, first of all. So let's just keep that a full buck, okay? So no, there's discrimination. Trust me, I've been in both sectors. There's discrimination in both sectors. And there's a lot of BS in both sectors too. Where, like that woman was saying earlier about, getting a job, you got to know somebody to get. It's nothing more frustrating than interviewing for a job where you ain't going to get it, because you know that if you're aware that somebody else is interviewing for the same job and they know somebody that works there, it's kind of like you sitting in there like, okay, why am I even in here? Black folks go through this all the time. And so, so someone asked about what is nepotism. I kind of described it to you. It's like, basically, nepotism is basically if you think of Hollywood, for example. Okay, let's say if I'm a great actor, and let's say, and I built a whole kind of collection of awesome work, films and stuff like that. And everybody knows me. Oh, Dwayne is just awesome. Anything he touches, man, it's just going to turn to gold. Right. And so that you build a whole reputation. Right. And so I get married and have children. Okay. Now my children, they may not be great actors, but because of my name, I'm able to get them into places that if they were competing like with everybody else, they wouldn't even win. They wouldn't even have a shot. And what I'm saying, and that's basically a good example of nepotism, but what you see, but this same kind of practice happens in the federal government with Black folks, by Black folks all the time. And they may not come out and say it, but I will, because it does happen a whole lot. And so, but this system that they've been operating, and one of the things we talked about, how they're using they're using software, for just give you an idea. They were using software in the Treasury Department that came out like in the 60s, in the 1960s. Like they weren't even on Unix. They were using like something even before. It was like Pascal or something like that. Something that people don't even touch anymore. I'm talking old stuff. And in 2025, people in the federal government are still using this old technology. I'm trying to give you an idea of what we're dealing with. So again, you get somebody like an Elon Musk, you get somebody who's cutting edge technology, you get someone like Trump going in there, business people who understand how to make things operate more efficiently. You're not going to last long in that environment. But it's not just them. The rest of the marketplace is doing the same thing. There are many, many people, non-Black folks, that are losing their jobs too because of this. Many, okay? Regardless of your race, gender, whatever, there are many people who are losing their jobs because of this same thing. But but you're not entitled to it. You are not entitled to these positions. You're not. None of us are. This is why we have to start thinking on building our own stuff. You got all of these women that like to boast about they got 5 PhDs and all that. Okay, get together and start building businesses then. I mean, why not? I don't understand why that's a problem. Here's another video that I came across, a young lady trying to explain it.
In case you didn't catch this, the reason why 300,000 black women have been out of work since March has less to do with the fact that there are federal cuts and DEI freezing, and more to do with the fact that we're supposed to be humbling for what we've been doing since 2020. In 2020, a lot of black women were put into positions of power where we got to do what we were actually asked to do. We got into higher positions, we did really well at our jobs, and we weren't grateful about it or humble because we were good at what we did. And I think in this new administration, you're seeing a retaliation for the fact that we were quite good at what we did, and we asked for what we wanted, and we deserved what we wanted. I do think the economy is going to pick up again.
Delusional, just very delusional. And it's people like this, they'll never get it. They'll never get it. They'll never get it. Here's somebody else here. Let me see what else. Did I have another one here? No, I didn't have another one there. But yeah, just we were great and we were just awesome at what we did. And he came in and just took everything. No. Because if you're an essential worker, they're going to keep you. That's just how it is across the board. It's just what it is. Anyway, moving right along. This week also we saw Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown, she's back in the crosshairs right now. Oh, black women again. What did she do now? Oh my goodness. Well, Tabitha Brown this week, she released she was talking with someone. I guess she does periodically she does live broadcasts like we're doing right now. And she was talking to one of the people that had a question or something for her. And, and the question was, I guess she was talking to other people who are entrepreneurs. And during this time where, it's becoming more and more challenging in the marketplace, Tabitha Brown was giving her advice on what she should do. So let's take a listen to what Tabitha Brown, the advice that she gave this individual.
Hello there. Real quick, this is not to discourage you, because I want us to be clear about that first, okay? You kind of been in this place for a long time, okay? Now listen, you got good ideas. Baby, you got good ideas. Your execution is not as good, okay? Your follow through, not as good. The ideas though are great. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and that doesn't mean it's not for you, but right now, these last few months, few years, you know what I'm talking about, baby. It ain't been working for you, okay? And you're doing a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul, okay? You done got yourself in some mess, and it's time for you to get a job. You hear me? You just gonna need to get a job for a little while, okay? It don't mean your ideas ain't good, okay? It don't mean that maybe one day you could be a good entrepreneur, but you have proven to yourself and everybody else that you owe money to, okay, that it ain't working right now, okay? It ain't worked for a while. It actually has never worked yet. Doesn't mean it won't ever work, but right now you need to go to work. You're gonna need to get a job, okay? And then keep working towards it, but at least you'll have a job while you are pursuing that thing. But right now, you need to get a job, baby. All right? That's it. I love you.
Now that's all she said. I don't see a problem with what she's saying is totally right on. And don't you know that there were many black women that took to the airwaves or whatever, the TikTok waves or whatever, and blasted this woman for what she said here, and saying that, what do you mean get a job? Me go out and get a job? That's what I'm trying to do here. What are you talking about? Me get a job? What are you talking about? I'm this or that or what? And it's like, No, you're going to have to get something. Yeah. Like, and for some people, you're going to probably have to work at Target, that Target that you were boycotting. Yeah. Places like that. Oh, but you're boycotting them. So just imagine the black women who understood what she was saying here, who had to get a job at a place like Target, for example. And now you boycotting them. But here you got someone that's telling you, hey, listen, you may have to get jobs at Walmart, Target, around the corner, whatever, until you get your, you get your game plan back up again. We all, as entrepreneurs, we all go through this. This is pretty normal. But the fact that people were taking such a great offense at what she was saying, it shows just how delusional and disconnected a lot of these people are. Take a listen to this person.
I want to preface this by saying, I guess I don't have a preface. I keep getting tagged in these videos about Tabitha Brown. I want to say her brother Nick is someone I consider to be a friend, and I really like Tabitha.
You're a man. What else are we gonna say here? And it's done. This is the problem with many. Unfortunately, you guys have coddled these individuals to come in to also be included in black women thought. I'm just going to tell you straight up. That's a man in a wig. Why are we talking? Why are you in this conversation? But he was saying he's getting tagged by other people, and I guess he's talking about other women. Oh, tell me what you think, what your thoughts are about Tabitha Brown. She was talking to women. She was talking to other women in that whole thing. This is a man in a wig. But see, that whole demo, and again, this doesn't apply to all black women because you have black women who did not roll with that. But again, going back to the Kamala crew, 98%, going back to the 98%, again, y'all are the ones that enclosed black women, LGBTQ. You all teamed up against straight black men. Remember that? I'm going to keep throwing that in your face. So now y'all trying to get advice from these people. How does that even work? How does that even work? In the lowest point of your time, why are you trying to get Tabitha, let me think here for a second. Okay, Tabitha Brown, a whole woman. That's a whole woman who's been through from the bottom, and now, she's enjoying a lot of success. Okay, so you got Tabitha Brown who's giving some advice here. Okay, now the persona thing, I can get some people, that's not their cup of tea. I get that, but this is a woman who knows she's been through. She understands this. Right? She understands what it is to work hard and the setbacks and all that. And she gets it, right? So here you got Tabitha Brown just giving some basic advice as an entrepreneur. On the other side, you got a man in a pink dress and a wig. But guess who they're going to? They're going to the man in the wig for advice. They're going to a man in a wig for advice over with Tabitha Brown, who's an entrepreneur and knows how to do all this stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? You see how delusional this is? This is delusional. No. It's raw delusion. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so we went to church. Let's see. So now let's look at let's see. I'll do this one. Okay, so all right. So speaking of delusion, I got to keep on this because I got to help y'all. Listen, I am the biggest cheerleader when it comes to my wife, when it comes to my daughter, when it comes to my mom. I'm the biggest cheerleader for them. And any other sisters out there that really got their head on straight, I'll be your biggest cheerleader. But I'm going to have to tell you the truth too. All right. I want you to take a listen to this. Watch this video here. I'll just set it up for you. And here's the thing. You remember not too long ago. I mean, I think it was this week. Maybe it was last week. I talked about how we were having this conversation about black culture. Oh, that was last week, I think. And I talked about how when you take a look at when you look at all the demographics here in the United States, which demographic are the highest users of social media? And near the top of just about every platform are black people. Black Americans are near the top. And I don't want to get in too deep in that because you have to watch that whole thing, because we were having a really deep conversation about culture. But I was saying one of the things about black culture is that unlike other cultures where you do have like your elders, you got people that you go to that, you can go to offline and to settle disputes and all that kind of stuff, right? When it comes to Black American culture, however, it's not really that present. A lot of the things that we go through it on stage. We literally go through all of this on stage. Everything that goes through our minds, we literally broadcast it. Everything, like everything. Any kind of plans, whatever it is, strategy, you're going to do all of it online. Everything online. Now, other groups do it too, but black folks lead the way on that, particularly on Twitter/X is black folks depend on that so much. We call it Black Twitter. Black Twitter. No other groups do that, but black folks do that. But anyway, so all of the good, the bad, the ugly, the disgusting, all of that gets pushed online. Everything. I mean, everything. And so I want to show you first this video here of a black woman who's like really disgusted about this. I don't know what country this is. I don't know if this was in China, Japan. I don't know what it is, but I want to show you this video here, and then we're going to listen to her take.
The world's obsession with deeply melanated women, with melanin-rich women, with black women needs to be fucking studied. Why would you put on that costume? I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't.
The world isn't obsessed with you, honey. The world isn't obsessed with you. The world has gotten a whole lot of you on social media, and when you put it all together, and I'm just going to start dropping videos here. This is what the world sees. Black women, black men, we put this type of content out by the tens of thousands of videos a day. Okay? And so let me just go through the rundown for you.
How many Taco Bell stackers can we eat?
I think I'm going to go for 12 this time. I think I could do about 15.
I think I can do about 23, just to make it even. Got the Taco Bell stackers in this bag. It's heavy too, it almost ripped. Here's my first one.
Here's my first one. First one. Second one.
Just finished my 15th one. 17th one.
This is my 13th one.
I made it past 12, y'all.
I'm done with the stackers and I'm moving on to burritos.
Oh no. I'm trying to decide. Oh, wait. Did she just take her? You want some? You want? No, you don't want these. Yeah.
Don't stop that shit, shake that shit, don't stop her breathing.
And as you know, I can go on and on and on. I can go on and on and on. I got one more here. Let me play this one here too. I can literally go on and on and on with this. I got another one here. Here we go. Here's another one on the subway.
Hey everyone, I know what you're thinking, but I don't want money. I just want good vibes. Yoga time. So the first step we're gonna do is
So going back to the lady that was complaining about that, like I said, again, it's some Asian country we don't know. Of course, I don't like seeing that. Of course not. But before you get mad and angry at something like that, you need to pump the brakes and turn around and look at the millions of videos that your people are putting up on social media every day. That kind of stuff, and even worse. There's stuff I can't even show you. Just all kinds of stuff. Humping on police cars, got little children, doing all kinds of stuff. So when you are putting all of this content out free of charge, mind you, if you're putting out, especially on TikTok, who owns TikTok? China. You're flooding the zone of a Chinese app with that kind of stuff. My son, he's a world traveler, and he's like in his mind, like really wanting to get out there. He's very interested in multiple cultures and languages and things like that. So he actually joined this app. I forgot. It's called Red something. I don't know what it is, but it's a Chinese app. And it's built for the Chinese people, but they allow people outside of China to join in. So he joined in on it, and he was telling me, Dad, he said, when black folks found out about it and got on it, he said the content that they're uploading all on China, he said it just make you shame. I mean, the stuff that they're flooding the zone with on China. I mean, this all kind of stuff. And the Chinese, they're up there making fun. They're like, yeah, do it again. Make that monkey sound and all, and they just doing it. Just doing it. So what I'm saying is that if you're flooding the zone with all of that stuff, what do you think the rest of the world, how they're going to take that? They're going to keep it going. Oh, I like this. This is pretty funny. Hey, I'm going to put some big lips on and some nappy hair too. I'm going to do the same thing. I look just like you. I look like a black man, just like you, black man, and they're going to do right along with it. You give it to them, they're going to keep right on. Well, we the only ones that are qualified to say the N-word. You can't. What's up, nigga? I could call you that, but you can't say it because it's our word. Okay, that kind of mindset, that kind of logic and all of that stuff, yes. But the world isn't obsessed with you. No, you're obsessed with you. But the sad thing is you're the only one in the room that don't get it. You think everybody else is just waiting for what they gonna post now. Not really. But when you're flooding the zone with all of that foolishness, yeah, people it's entertainment. They see it as entertainment. And then you get what you get. It's sad, ain't it? But it's true. And well, let's move on. Let's see what else came across my timeline here. This is, let's see. I think his name is Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum. This is a right-wing black guy. And I wasn't really shocked. I was on Twitter the other day, but he was so happy that he was going to have Benjamin Netanyahu on his podcast. I was like, wow, now this is interesting because usually Netanyahu, when he does these podcasting, he usually goes on white people's podcasts, but I've never seen him go on a black person's podcast. So this is interesting. So I want you to take a listen to this short piece of the dialogue here. It's really something. It's really something. And black conservatives, y'all gonna have to get together on this one here.
In Israel, if you actually talk to the majority of Christians, talk to them, you'll see what they say. They say, Israel is the only place where we're respected and protected.
And I can attest to that as a Christian who went to Israel. I spent 2 weeks there with the church, and we had an incredible time. We had only one incident where a small child spit on one of the pastors, and immediately after there was an adult that came by and said, "That's not a representation of who we are. You know, we love you guys. You guys are always welcome here." And I have to say, no adults gave us any grief. We had no issues whatsoever in our experience there. It was actually an amazing experience.
Okay, so he's saying that a little Jewish kid came and spat on one of them, and he quickly said, "What? You know, it wasn't really a big." I wonder what our ancestors would have said about something like that. You know, went during the whole, school busing thing and all of that, and where they were getting spat on and all of that. I wonder what they would say about something like that. I tell you, these Negroes that love Israel that much, you going to get spat on and say, well, it really wasn't that big of a deal, because see, an adult came and she corrected that. I wonder if Officer Tatum, did you take the opportunity to bring up how the top rabbi of Israel at one time referred to black people as monkeys? Did you bring that up? Did you bring that up? Or did you bring up how some years ago how Israel did forced birth control on Ethiopian women? Did you bring that up? No, you brought up how you were spat on, but it's okay. It's no big deal. These people are wild, man. These people are wild. I mean, for you to just brush that off. First of all, for you to have a sit down with that's a lot in of itself. And the fact that Netanyahu would sit down with a black man like that on his podcast, it shows just how desperate they really are, because they're looking at all of this on social media and they're seeing how a lot of people ain't checking for Israel like they used to. They're desperate. And I thought that was quite interesting, because I've never seen that. That was a first. And of course, the one they do get, I was spat on, but hey, it was all right. It's okay. They gave me a coupon. Anyway, let me move on. This is another thing that while in the United States, we have a movement where you got numbers of black American people who are, and again, this is mostly online in the real streets. You're not going to come across too many black people who actually embrace this stuff, but mainly online, you have numbers of black people who are saying how they're not African. There's nothing about them that's African in no way, shape, or form, and all this other stuff. So while we have this anti-African movement that's taking place online here in America, as I've been saying, when you travel outside of the country and you look at a lot of the black cultures, like in Central South America and other places, they're actually going the other way. They're embracing it. In fact, they've been doing it for numbers of years. They have festivals and all kinds of stuff where they give honor to their African ancestors and all of that. It's really, really neat. And here's a couple of videos here that I wanted to share with you on that. Here's some sisters here. I want to say this is down in Mexico, so take a look at this one.
¿Sabías que en México existimos personas negras y afromexicanas? ¿Y tú conoces de tu ancestralidad?
Prima hermana, ¿ya sabes de tus raíces afromexicanas?
¡Afromexicanas!
And this one is down in Brazil. This is down in Brazil. Take a look at this one.
Chocando aquí el puñito. Regala un puñito. 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 Puñito.
¿Alguno?
I'm just saying. So yeah, so they're, these people been doing it, and they're all on social media. They've been doing this for for decades and decades. They've been doing this and paying homage to their African ancestors and all of that. And it's just here in America where everybody, you got people who want to be everything but an African. They don't have anything to do with that. So it's quite remarkable to see. Listen, the world is a much bigger place, than what you really think it is. If you think that America is the world, then you're missing it. I mean, the world is actually a lot bigger than America. I don't have the video, but it was on TikTok. It was for those of you in Baltimore, maybe you can fill me in on this, but they have a Jollof. You guys know about, like, many of you are familiar with like Chipotle, right? Where it's like you get your bowls, right? And then you got Asians that have kind of the similar setup. Well, now they're starting to roll out Jollof restaurants that are similar, has a similar format. And boy, it looks really good. And everything I'm seeing about it, giving very good reviews. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not gonna be the last of it. This is just the beginning. When you look at the birth rate numbers, I've told you about this. When you look at the birth rate numbers, comparing the birth rate numbers to Black Americans versus West Africans got us beat by many, many miles. By the time we get to 2050, Black Americans, as we know it, is going to be a teeny, tiny minority. That's just the birth rate, y'all. Don't get mad at me. I'm not reading the numbers wrong. That's just what it is. You can look it up. It's all of them are declining. West African birth rates are on a slight decline. White birth rates are definitely on a decline. Black birth rates are following what the white people are doing. They're on a decline. And what can we thank for that? Thank things like feminism. Feminism really did a number on us, didn't it? And we think we can follow that. And yep, a lot of people are committed to that and going to follow it straight to non-existence. And that's what's happening. This is why you got countries all throughout Africa that are taking a stance against this and saying, no, abortion, they have serious laws against things like abortion and, LGBT, things like that. They still got a lot of this other stuff that goes on too, let's keep it real. I mean, there are children that are being killed in Africa for real, but when it comes to this Western stuff, a lot of African countries are actually fighting against it, and their birth rates prove that. And so, by the time we hit 2050, like it or not, the world is going to be a much different place here. So you can get mad at Africans all you want, but it is what it is. Caribbeans too, same thing. Anyway, let's tune to something a little bit funny here for a moment here. Take a look at this one here. I always get a kick out of these videos here, because I know if I know I can pull this off with my mom. One day I'm gonna try to do it and see if she still got it. Okay, hold on for a second. Let's take a look at this. Doing FaceTime baby reveals.
Look at this. My friend had a baby. Oh, cute.
Friend's baby.
Oh my God, it's like a little old man.
FaceTime. She can see.
Oh, stop it.
Oh my God. Was there an accident?
She's on FaceTime.
No. It's beautiful.
Ay, she's on FaceTime. Wow. Oh, she just had him. Yeah. Like right now. Yeah. One of my friends just had their baby.
Benjamin Buttons, babe.
They're on the phone. They're on the phone.
I'm just kidding. It's beautiful.
Sure the shit.
Maybe she's on the phone.
I don't give a damn. She better go to prayer. She better go to prayer.
Say, look at this baby. My friend's just had Amy.
Who?
Amy. Look at her baby.
Jesus Christ, look at its nose.
Mom, you're on FaceTime.
What? Fuck off.
My friend had a baby.
Are you sure that's a real baby?
Yeah, what do you think?
That's the fattest little baby I've ever seen.
Is it cute?
No.
Y'all be lying. I tell you, y'all be lying on us. Y'all be lying. You better start telling the truth, Grandma and Grandpa. Y'all better start. Y'all be lying. Anyway, let's move on to the. I think this is the last one I got here. Hold on, let me see. I think this is the last one here. Well, this is Tariq Nasheed, and he. I remember. I actually think I remember when he said this. And this is all on the internet. But I want you to take a listen to something he acknowledged. And this was just a few years ago. Take a listen.
Let me tell y'all something. I've gotten calls from these white networks wanting to put me on and give me a real big bag to get on TV and get out here and start throwing black immigrants under the bus with them. You think they haven't hit me up, people? Y'all think these folks haven't hit me up? When I start saying that I agree with Trump, do y'all Google that? Google Tariq Trump. Look at all the right-wing publications that jumped on that. Look at all of them that jumped on that. And I'm talking about especially.
I mean, he literally told people basically there was a huge bag waiting for him if he were to throw immigrants, black immigrants, under the bus. I mean, he literally said that out of his mouth, but people still go with it. I mean, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? Like I said, there are people out there, believe it or not, they want to be deceived. They do. They want to be deceived. They want someone to lie to them. They want that. And here we got an example. That wasn't AI. He said that. I remember when he said that. And it's something. But anyway, let me see. I don't think I have anything else. I think that's it. Quite a busy, my For You page has always got a lot of stuff on it. And I'm sure as well as many of you guys as well. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of, it's Friday night. Just wanted to sit back and chill a little bit. And just kind of go through some of the things that stuck out on my For You page on Twitter and on TikTok. Quite interesting. If you have any kind of interesting videos you think I might like, or you think will be worthy for us to share here on this platform, hey, let me know. Let me know. Send it to them. Send them my way. You can leave the link in the comments below and let me check it out for you. Make sure it's for general audiences, okay? And I'm sure you will do that. All right, so anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.